After my 15-mile test ride on this Norton Commando, I came back and I noticed that although I changed the brake pads and obviously worked on, well, changed the fluid and bled it through and obviously used the brake lever both while bleeding the brake and while riding the bike, after the 15-mile run I noticed that there was a little bit of sort of muddy coloured wetness around the brake lever pivot area, and the end of the little rubber boot and the plunger that the lever bears on were looking rather sort of rusty, wet coloured, and I knew what it was brake fluid. So although the brake has been working and the lever, you could sort of hold the brake on and keep weight on the lever and it wouldn't creep in towards the handlebars, that side of it was actually holding fine, but the outermost seal was leaking, and that was sort of letting pumping a little bit of fluid out every time the lever returned after you used the brakes. So it wasn't a good situation. So I gritted my teeth and I've got all the guts of the master cylinder out now, and I've got them laid out down here. If you were going to be putting them in, that would go in first that way, then there's this rubber, then this washer, and then this has got a seal on it as well, and that's the rather used looking end of that the brake lever pushes against when it pushes it in to operate the brake. So there's all the components there. There's a rather tired, grubby and split looking rubber boot that covers the whole lot, and that's a sort of retaining clip or washer if you like. That's just a bit of that there that has long gone. So I'm hoping, well, I've got a new boot there. I ordered a complete overhaul kit for the master cylinder. I'm pretty sure all the other little seals are there as well, so I'm hoping to clean everything up, fit the new seals and so on, and put it all back together, and hopefully we might have a working brake as before, but one that doesn't weep very slightly at the handlebar end after using it a few times. So there's the master cylinder with its piston all back in situ with the new seals and stuff on it. I gave everything a really good cleaning. It was quite filthy in there, but there's no sort of damaging corrosion in there or anything. It was just very dirty, so it's all been cleaned, and the new components are basically what you can see here in the old components. That, as I said before, was in one piece with that. That's the sort of external rubber boot, if you like. This is its retainer, and that is what we have at the business end of the piston in the master cylinder. When you pull the lever, that's on the end, and that pushes the fluid down a pipe to the caliper. So anyway, everything's been renewed now, so I'm hoping that it'll work and no longer have that very slight weep or leak. And I'm also hoping that as I haven't disturbed the brake hose or anything, and I've put fresh fluid in the pot there and worked this with my thumb, and I seem to have managed to evict any air. I'm going to put the lever back on and see what happens, but if the worst comes to the worst, I'll just have to undo the bleed screw on the caliper. It's no biggie, but there we are. The master cylinder's all rebuilt and I don't have to worry about fluid seeping out of it and possibly causing an accident at worst, or maybe just damaging some paintwork at the very least. So that was a job well worth doing. While mentioning the various components that I replaced in the master cylinder from the kit that I bought to overhaul it, I nearly forgot to mention this one. This seal is the one nearest the handlebar lever, and this is the one that I think had been allowing the fluid to leak, and that one is your first one, if you like. I said this one was what was called, I described as the business end. It actually pushes the fluid down a pipe to the caliper, This one is closer to the rubber boot end of the assembly, and this is the one that I think had been leaking. There was actually that same sort of muddy, rusty sort of residue around this one on the plunger that it fits onto. So, and this one's quite a job to change, but it stretches a lot more than you might imagine it would in order to get it on. But that one was done as well, so didn't want to miss out mentioning that, because that's quite important, and that's the one that probably caused the external leak as well. So that's been changed as well. Well, just to round off, I've got it all back together now. Got the lever back on, and that's full of clean fluid, of course, and everything went together really well just from outside. All I had to do actually was remove the twist grip to get it out the way, to get access, and I got the whole lot, all the guts of it all came out this way, which I was very surprised at and impressed actually. And obviously it's all back together now, and I already explained that I sort of started to prime it and clear the air from the system by just moving the piston in and out with my finger or thumb, and just kept doing that a few times till I felt a bit of resistance build up, and then I fitted the lever, and I would say everything's good. It feels good, sort of got that much free movement, and then resistance starts to build up, and then that's rock hard there, so there's no sponginess in there, no air. And also when I operate the brake, even though it worked before, if I did this, you'd hear quite a sort of wet, sort of squelchy sort of sound about it, and that's gone now. So obviously a good clean, and the new seal and other components didn't do any harm at all. And hopefully we'll have a top-notch brake on that now, because we've got new brake pads down in the caliper already. I did them a couple of weeks ago actually. So should be all systems go on the braking front, or all systems stop even. So I'm glad I got that one done anyway, and it went very well. So whether anyone else knows or needs to know, it's possible to do this just by removing a twist grip, and you've got access into everything you need once the brake lever's out the way. All pretty good.